which point pull back in a much more rapid fashion to clear the way for the vertical climb of the Falcon 9. T-minus 3 minutes is when the first stage LOX tank is full. Same is true on the second stage at about a minute later. At that point, the Falcon 9 is fully loaded with 1 million pounds of propellant. In the final 60 seconds, we hear the call that the Falcon 9 is in startup. Control of the countdown is being handed over from the ground sequencer to the Falcon 9's onboard flight computers. The propellant tanks are also brought up to flight pressure. SpaceX launch director will give their go for launch at 45 seconds out. The engine ignition command is issued at T-minus 3 seconds. If all 9 Merlin engines are healthy and ignite, flight computer will give the command for the hold down clamps to release this Falcon 9 rocket for a T0 liftoff. Coming up at, again, 7:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 00:39 UTC. T-minus 45 minutes, 25 seconds. Now currently T-minus 43 minutes, 1 second and counting. With the launch of the CRS-31 mission, that brought SpaceX up to now a total of 104 Falcon 9 launches, 106 total for the Falcon family. As I mentioned, SpaceX crossed the 400 launch mark, or reached that milestone with the launch of CRS-31 on Monday. Following that launch, the SpaceX Vice President of Launch, Kiko Donchev, noted that they, because of a variety of setbacks, both due to technical issues, some of the anomalies that they've had over the summer, and weather delays, that they are not going to be able to reach their stated goal at the beginning of the year of 144 launches, or an average of 12 launches per month across 2024. But as of yesterday, Kiko said that they are aiming to add another 30 launches to their total for the rest of this year. That equates to roughly one every 2 days, according to him. So for those of you who were thinking that the launch pace for SpaceX had slowed down a bit, you're certainly not imagining that. It had for a variety of reasons, but SpaceX fully intends to kick things up full throttle and end with a quite blistering pace over the course of the remainder of 2024. And of course, that target of 30 launches does not include their intention to launch more Starship missions, including the one that was just announced today, the confirmation from SpaceX that Flight 6, yes, is coming in now less than 2 weeks, as SpaceX has put Monday, November 18th on the calendar as its stated goal date for launching the 6th flight of its Starship rocket. A number of milestones that are going to be crossovers from Flight 5, but of course, continuing their iterative development of the Starship rocket, there's going to be some new things added in, including an attempt once again to have an on-orbit lighting of a Raptor vacuum engine during the coast phase of the Starship upper stage. They'll also be doing some additional thermal tile testing on the Starship upper stage, working to better insulate it as it continues to progress towards a fully reusable vehicle. It's partly why the timing of the mission is also being adjusted, whereas we've seen all of the previous flights of Starship launch in the morning. This next flight has a window that opens up at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. And the reason for that is they want to have the Starship upper stage land in the Indian Ocean in daylight conditions. As again, they're seeking to learn more about the state of Starship and how they can eventually get to the point where they're able to catch that vehicle, not only to further Starship for SpaceX's own ends, but of course also to help serve NASA's goals for the Artemis program, as Starship will serve as the human landing system for Artemis Flights 3 and 4. We're now at T-minus 38 minutes, 3 seconds and counting. You may recall SpaceX does its launch or fueling readiness polls electronically, so they are able to do that a little bit earlier than T-minus 38 minutes if they feel like they're in a good position to move forward with fueling, give that go ahead. But normally it happens at the T-minus 38 minute mark. If that clearance was given, then we should see fueling begin at T-minus 35 minutes. Once fueling begins, here's what we're going to be looking for, assuming SpaceX doesn't proactively say that they are, in fact, fueling their rocket. If you see near the bottom of the Falcon 9's first stage, and fortunately this is both a relatively new booster, and so you can actually still pretty clearly make out the lettering of the word SpaceX written vertically. If you see just beneath the X in SpaceX, there's a slightly lighter band on the Falcon 9's first stage. Once the super cold densified liquid oxygen starts flowing into that tank on that part of the rocket, we'll start to see a layer of frost form, a little bit of vapor in that area as well, as the super cold oxidizer meets the much warmer a more humid Florida air. That's why we start to see a little bit of vapor at that point. Usually start to see some evidence of fueling if we haven't heard from SpaceX around T-minus 33-ish minutes. Taking a look at our live chat, I see one of our moderators, our newest moderator, in fact, Mark Otto, has joined us tonight. Good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well. And a big thanks for gifting 10 Spaceflight Now memberships, spreading a little generosity and growing our community. Much appreciated. To our 10 newest channel members, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you with us. Seed just got home from Albuquerque. Oh, welcome home, Mark. Also want to thank P. Caldwell for a $5 super chat. Thank you, P. And thanks to Gary Peak as well for a $5 super chat as well. Appreciate you both. Now T-minus 34 minutes, 49 seconds and counting. Again, we are standing by for word from SpaceX, but assuming all is continuing to move along well, they will have begun fueling the Falcon 9 rocket at this point. Again, loading RP-1 on board the Falcon 9's first and second stages, and liquid oxygen on board the Falcon 9's first stage. We're now currently T-minus 30 minutes, 45 seconds and counting. At this point, we visually do not appear to be seeing signs of fueling. SpaceX hasn't made any statements one way or another. But normally by this time we would see at least a little bit of vapor near that part of the rocket and some more evidence that a frost line was starting to build, certainly by the 30-minute mark, which there doesn't seem to be here tonight. And unfortunately, we are calling tonight as a scrub. SpaceX hasn't put out a formal statement, but we do have indications that they are standing down from tonight's launch attempt. We note that in part by, again, not seeing any visual signs of fueling, but also SpaceX has seemed to have adjusted their own broadcast stream start time, showing that on the 7th, November 7th, starting at 3:06 p.m. And now they have also finally updated their launch page to say that, yes, liftoff is now targeted for tomorrow, Thursday, November 7th, with a liftoff at 3:13 p.m. Eastern. So again, if you are just joining us, SpaceX has scrubbed tonight with no explanation posted as to why. Actually, now they have just released something within the last 40 seconds saying standing down from tonight's Starlink launch from Pad 40 in Florida, now targeting Thursday, November 7th. So essentially, as we were breaking the news to you here, SpaceX finally coming forward with their own statement. So unfortunately, that is how the cookie crumbles. And so unclear as to the reason why they decided to scrub. Typically, when SpaceX has scrubbed due to weather, they're pretty quick to say that it was